Greetings, salutations, and welcome to SportsLook, the sports television program for the High Plains of West Texas and eastern New Mexico. I'm your host, Doc Elder, and we're going to be double trouble tonight. That's because we got a set of twins. Matt Quartieri and Dylan Quartieri is our first guest. We're going to have a young lady that hits doubles at the plates and takes away doubles playing center field. That's Madison Begaye. I'll finish up with an overtime, but as always, I'll start out with an Eastern recap. Greyhound women's cross country had a good meet in Dallas this past weekend. They finished 19th out of a field of 32. For the Greyhound guys, they finished 28th out of a field of 32. Greyhound soccer still looking for their first win of the season as they dropped a contest to Oklahoma Christian on Saturday. But congratulations to Greyhound volleyball. On Monday night, they beat New Mexico Highlands University, and that was doubly speed for Coach Bustos because she is a graduate of New Mexico Highlands University. Well, that has been your Eastern recap, so we'll clear this out and we'll bring in our first guests, Matt Quartieri and Dylan Quartieri, right now. Welcome back to Sports Look, and we welcome to the set of Sports Look two guys from Greyhound football. We've got Matt Quartieri, we've got Dylan Quartieri, and guys, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having us. Thank you.
Well, Matt, we'll start out with you. Where are you from, and what was the process that got you to the football team at Eastern?
I'm from a small town up in northern New Mexico, up on the Colorado border called Raton, and got me at Eastern was actually, I had quite a couple Division II offers coming out of high school, and Coach Hyatt was the previous head coach here. Kind of called me right a week before signing day. We got down for a visit here, and I thought the opportunity to play with my twin brother was play college football with my twin brother was amazing. So I came to Eastern, and actually I wanted to play linebacker, and this is one of the schools that recruited me to play linebacker. So.
Very good. Well, Dylan, since you were a part of the equation, what was the process that got you to sign with Eastern?
Kind of the same thing. You know, Coach Hyatt reached out to both of us, and I actually committed first because what I wanted to go into was education, and I had always heard about what such a good school Eastern was for education, and that was one of the main selling points on how I got here, and just the people. You know, small town New Mexico is not too different from home, so.
Not quite as scenic, but same vibe.
Yeah, it's a little flatter around here.
And anybody who's ever been to Raton knows that that is an amazing view that we kind of lack here in Portales. Well, Matt, was football your only sport growing up, or did you play other sports?
No, we played it all. We played football, basketball, baseball. I ran track my junior year, and we actually during COVID, since we didn't have any sports during the fall season, we got into esports and we played Madden. So it was me and Dylan and one of our other buddies back home. We were on a Madden team and actually ended up winning the state title in Madden. So that was interesting. But yeah, we did it all up in Raton.
I never knew that. That's such a cool story. Well, did you ever think in your spare time of joining the esports team here at Eastern?
No, I hadn't. We hadn't thought about it. We're so busy with football.
Yeah.
There's really no extra time.
Well, Dylan, since obviously I think I know the answer from asking your brother, but. Outside of football, what was the highlight of your athletic career at Raton?
I would say baseball. We made it to the state semifinals, and that team we were so close. Like we were with all of our buddies that we grew up with, and it was a really good experience making it all the way to the state semis. And
what position did you play?
I kind of did everything. I played first base, third base, and I pitched.
Uh-huh. And Matt, how about you?
Played shortstop and pitched.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Cool. I remember the best baseball team Portales ever had. That was back when Raton was in the same class with Portales, and Portales won by 1 run, and then they killed the team in the finals. Mm-hmm. So the game against Raton was pretty much which team was going to win state. But I digress. Back to the here and now. So, growing up, thinking about football, at what point did you realize that you were good enough that you could play college football?
I would say sophomore year. We had some really good coaches in high school, Coach Giacomo, Coach Walton, and I had started since my 8th grade year. since, I mean, we didn't have a lot of older guys, so I kind of got thrown into the ringer and getting a lot of experience. And it was a lot bigger for a New Mexico kid, you know, especially in 3A New Mexico. There's not that many big kids, and kind of learning the game. We went up to a 7-on-7. First offer came from we went up to 7-on-7 at CSU Pueblo, and that was the first offer I got. And I was like, okay, maybe we can play. But yeah, I've always been confident throughout and just kind of want to line up with anybody.
So Dylan asked you the same question. At what point did you realize you were good enough to play collegiate?
I would say probably my junior year, after COVID, gained a little bit of weight and started, you know, building muscle and realizing that, you know, we're about the same size as most of the guys that could play college ball, and just learning the game really helped me realize that, you know, maybe we can do this past high school.
So Matt, who were the big influences on you in terms of not just becoming the athlete, but becoming the young man that you are today?
I'd say my dad, 100%. My parents have supported us throughout our entire life, and it's always been positive. You know, it's never, if you didn't perform, kind of looked down upon it. It was always very supportive, like next game. And then my dad's the hardest working person I know. We have a little ranch down in Maxwell, about 20 miles south. And my dad gets up every morning before work. He works for the state engineer's office, and he gets up every morning, goes and feeds cows and does all the chores down there. So never complains, never asks for help, even kind of bugs us sometimes. He don't ask us for help, and but we try to help out whenever we can.
So did you actually live in the Maxwell School District, but you chose to go to Raton?
No, we didn't. My grandfather passed away during COVID, and so we inherited that, and we had always lived in Raton.
I got you.
But it's only like a 20-minute drive, so it's not too bad.
So Dylan, outside of your dad, who was a big influence on you?
Probably my Nana and Papa. They're actually our babysitters growing up, and, you know, they've been as real as any grandparents can be. They always support us in everything we do. They've been watching us since we were little kids, and they don't miss any home game down here. My papa is also one of the hardest working men I know, so yeah, I'm just really appreciative for everything they've done for us.
So Matt, in terms of going from Raton to going to Eastern New Mexico University, what was the big adjustment between 3A high school football in New Mexico and Division II college football?
Oh, the speed and the offensive line. It's crazy. I know my first experience was my redshirt freshman year against New Mexico Highlands, and actually I got to start that game, and that was eye-opening for sure. And then once you get into the Lone Star Conference slate, you got Angelo, who's got every lineman, I swear, is 6'5", over 300 pounds, and it's just you can't really overpower anybody. It comes down to technical stuff, and if you're not doing the technical stuff right, you're going to get beat.
And Dylan, since I imagine the answer is pretty much the same on the athletic front, let's talk the academic front. What was the biggest adjustment going from a high school in New Mexico to going to a college in New Mexico?
I would say you're kind of on your own, as far as, you know, your parents aren't helping you as much, so that's big. You have to have a commitment to your classes, and being a student athlete in college is hard. We didn't necessarily have as many hours that we had to put in high school as we do in college, so that was kind of an adjustment, but yeah, it's been a great experience, and I wouldn't change it.
Matt, with college football, as your brother alluded to, it's a lot more than just showing up at 2 o'clock at Seaway Family Foundation Stadium for practice. Talk a little bit about everything else that goes into your day as a football player.
Yeah, so it depends if we're in season, out of season. In season, we'll have position meetings in the morning, and then you'll have class throughout the day all the way until 2 o'clock, and then you start practice. Or we'll have lift, depending. We lift 3 or 4 days a week, so Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday we're going to have a lift before practice, whether that be different time groups for people who have class and stuff. And then you get 2.5, 3 hour practice, and then you got to go home and watch the corrections on film and get ready to do it again.
So you don't get much of a chance to watch Netflix. You're pretty much, if you're watching something, it's football.
Yeah, 100%.
There you go. Dylan, I got to ask you a question. So what's your best lift and what's your brother's best lift?
I would say my best lift is probably bench press.
Uh-huh.
I would say to him, same thing for him.
Okay. So you guys both about equal on what you lift?
He's a little bit. He lifts a little bit more than I do. I'm not gonna lie. So.
Okay, well, Matt, I'll bring it back to the actual gridiron. You guys had Hall of Honor's induction weekend football game against Western Oregon. Dominated the first half. You held Western Oregon scoreless. They only got one field goal attempt. They missed it. But football teams make adjustments, and Western just made a couple of adjustments and scored 3 touchdowns. That was all they needed.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a tough game. It's a tough one to swallow, especially a game where you're in a situation, a dominant first half. And I think we kind of got a little complacent in the second half, and they capitalized on it. And I think the game of football comes down to 1 or 2 plays. And if we make those 1 or 2 plays or 1 or 2 more plays than they do, then at the end of the day, we would have been victorious. But got to just put your head down and grind again. We got a big one this week, so.
Speaking of which, Dylan will ask you, obviously it should be a big game to everybody, even if they come from Kalamazoo, Michigan. But for a couple of guys from New Mexico, I would think the wagon wheel game is pretty important.
Very important. You know, anytime you get to play a Texas school, it's always a challenge. They're really well coached over at that school east of us. And, you know, it's always a fun game. I've been a part of 3 of them, won 2, lost 1, and winning it is one of the best feelings in the world, and losing it is probably the worst feeling.
So Matt will ask you, we've got about a minute left. So what are you majoring in? What do you hope to do?
I'm a health and phys ed major. Have a minor in athletic training. I haven't quite figured out. My original plan was to go to physical therapy school after, but I'm also leaning towards staying around the game and coaching and teaching. So I haven't quite made that decision yet, but it'll come.
And Dylan asked you the same question.
My undergrad's in health and physical education with a K-12 licensure, so I'm going to be a teacher. After that, I plan on getting my master's degree in sports administration and becoming an athletic director / head football coach. So.
Well, gentlemen, it's been a pleasure having you at Eastern, and sincerely, from everybody in this part of the state, we wish you the best of luck on Saturday.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
All right, well, that is going to wrap up our first interview segment, so we'll clear the set, and we're going to bring in Madison Begaye right now. Welcome back to SportsLook, and a pleasure to bring to the set of SportsLook a member of Greyhound softball, Madison Begaye. And Madison, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Madison, first question, where are you from and what was the process that got you here to Eastern?
So I am a true New Mexican. I'm from Rio Rancho, New Mexico. I was actually born in Clovis, so I'm pretty close to home, I'd say. Fun fact. Basically, I came right out of high school. Spent all 4 years here. I went to Rio Rancho High School in Rio Rancho, New Mexico, played for Paul Coleman, as well as the Sundancer team, which is what we consider like club out there. I came to a recruiting camp out here, Eastern, for one of my first couple of camps, and you know what, the coaches really, they stole my heart. I love them. They are my mom's away from home, and that's really what sold the show on me, is just, you know, the community here, the family. It feels like, you know, this, I love how homey it feels here, to say the least, yes.
And if memory serves me, you didn't need to change your color scheme because isn't Rio Rancho High green?
It is. It's navy blue and green. So, yes, I did have a lot of, coming into softball, I was perfectly fine with the Under Armour socks. So
There you go.
yeah.
So Madison, was softball your only sport growing up, or did you play other ones and softball just became your best?
Definitely the sport chose me. I played a lot of sports growing up. I played volleyball and basketball and softball up until high school. And then basketball kind of went away from me because it was just too much running, you know, but that's fine. And then volleyball, I played volleyball my freshman year of high school. After that, I kind of chose to stick with softball, as it was, like I said, the sport chose me. It was, you know, it came natural to me. It was what I wanted to do. And I love being outside. I love my teammates, everything of that nature. So, yeah.
How did you get your start in softball? Did you have an athletic family and that was just expected, or was it like friends and you just wanted to keep playing?
Well, I definitely grew up with a sport-oriented family. Like I have 6 siblings from home, an older brother of which who played basketball growing up very competitively, and then I have a younger sister who always played with me growing up as well. Me and her, we were hand in hand with everything, and that's kind of what kept me going. And yeah, the girls that I meet, the club ball teams that I played for, all the traveling, everything of that nature, it was really what sold the show on me for real. Like I loved just everything about softball. Like I said, being outside, the yelling, I can yell as much as I want, outside voice, like that's just, I love it. Yeah.
So was there one coach in particular that was particularly effective in helping you, or did every coach contribute a little to the player that you are?
I definitely did see a lot of coaching growing up. I'd say my dad was one of them. I've always been, coached by my dad since I was younger, and he definitely pushed me to be one of the strongest people that I know as far as like mentality-wise, pushing myself past the limit. He's always been there for me from T-ball up until high school, and then I mentioned Paul Coleman. He was my high school coach, as well as my travel ball coach. He played a very big role in who I am today as well. He's I go to him, when I need to, and he's always there for me, and he's just, like those 2 men of my life, they have a special place in my heart. They guided me to who I am today.
And you talked about the fact that when you came to Eastern, you met Coach Amanda and Coach Shanna, and
Yes, sir.
they're 2 very different individuals,
Oh, yeah.
but they make a great team. So talk
Yes.
about them from a coaching standpoint.
They definitely, those 2 coaches, like I said from the beginning, they stole my heart. They're my mom's away from home. They're really good people outside of softball. And you know what? I love just the kind of professionalism they bring to the table, and just the love they pour into us just as much as we pour into them. And you know what? I can say that I'll never be alone. I'll never have anything to worry about as long as I have them, because they genuinely, like, those 2 women are like top tier. Like, it's genuinely like the way they put stuff together. Like, it's, you know what, I don't even know what the word is. It's great, honestly. I love them. Like, yeah.
So Madison, usually when you get to college and you join a team, usually there's at least one upper class person
Yep.
that takes you under her wing and shows you the ropes. So who was the player that really helped in your transition to college?
One of those people, her name was Lainey Lucero. Everybody knows her here, greatest Greyhound last year. Yeah, she really did take me under my wing as soon as I got here, and she was my roommate last year before she graduated. She, you know what, she was just always there. Anytime I had a question, she was right there with me, willing to explain it to me and just give me every bit of information that she had coming into the program, and which really helped me a lot. Like, I adjusted really quick, and yeah, Lainey Lucero was definitely just one of my mentors for sure.
And I know that Rio Rancho High is an excellent academic school, so probably you didn't have as much of an adjustment to college academics as some kids at Eastern do.
Yeah, well, you know what, I mean, it's always hard, like with the asynchronous learning and stuff with COVID, that hit my sophomore, junior year, and then a little bit of senior year. So, but other than that, I mean, yeah, the transition into college, it wasn't too much for me. Like, like I said, I'm in state, so coming here, I'm not too far away from home. The schoolwork, the workload, I like it way more than high school. I could definitely say I love college a lot more than high school.
Let's talk, usually I save it to the end, but since we seem to be at a good transition point, let's talk a little bit about the academics. What are you majoring in, and what do you hope to do with your career?
I'm an EET major here at Eastern. Electronics Engineering Technology. What I hope to do with that is, I mean, genuinely, I'm a super big math person. I'm not too hot with English. So I basically went to my advisor and I told him, get me through college without writing a paper, please. And I went with that, and you know what? It's gotten me through up until now, and I stuck with it. And like I said, I love math. And I'm looking forward to graduating this year. And hopefully after that, I'm looking for an internship. I actually just had an interview with Encore, which is one of the biggest
Yeah.
like electrical companies in Texas. Hopefully with that I can work my way up, and make an impact on, the world, the electrical grid, everything like that. I want to help out.
Interesting. See, I would have, that's why you should never assume
Yeah.
in life. I would have just assumed coming out of Rio Rancho with the big Intel plant there
Yeah.
and going into EET, there
Yeah.
would have been, but no, it's just you didn't like writing papers.
Yeah.
Okay, good to know. Because see, for me, it was like, that was the one thing I was good at.
Yeah, no.
The math was like, I'll just
I don't
try
have
and
the patience
hope
for
they
that.
outbid. Pity on me.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about your career here. I think it's fair to say that in a more perfect world, you would have gotten to play a lot more games, but injuries had other ideas.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I mean, everything happens for a reason. I'm not too upset about it. It's taught me some of my biggest life lessons. Being on my second injury here, I'm definitely, this time around, I'm a lot more level-headed, and I'm okay with sitting on the sidelines and helping out. Like, that's what I enjoy more. And you know what? Like, coming to, into this program, I did really well my freshman year. And then sophomore year, I think that's what I needed. It took me out, but you know what? Like I said, it taught me some lessons that I definitely needed to learn. I'm a lot more level-headed, like I said. I'm mentality-wise, I'm way stronger than what I was coming in. And I feel like it'll get me through whatever life throws at me, because you know what? It's like you said, you knew earlier, injury, no matter how much time it takes you out, it feels like a lifetime. And at this point, in my situation, I've come to accept it and, not just live with it, but let it help me and guide me to where I need to go.
Madison, it's been, the last 2 years have been remarkable for Greyhound softball because you've gotten to the playoffs, you've beaten a higher seed, and then you lost to the #1 team, but not by very much.
Yeah.
So what allowed you the last 2 years to be that successful? What was the key to winning for Greyhound softball?
I think the key for us is just culture. You know what, like some people, they have a hard time with like losing and stuff like that. And I've had experiences with teams where, you lose and it's just like everything goes left. But for us, the culture was the biggest thing, staying together, making sure that we win and lose as a team. As well as our coaches, like they hate to lose more than they love to win. And that plays a big role for us because we take everything seriously, as long as, we're taking the little things seriously, executing that well. Just being the underdog in, the LSC, that was one of our main goals. Didn't even matter. When I first came in, it didn't matter if we made conference or not. We just wanted to prove to the LSC that, Eastern is coming to play ball. Like we want to get up in this world, So, yeah.
Well, congratulations on the success that you've experienced as a team member, and let's hope that this year you get a full season in, and let's hope we take that one more step.
Yeah, I agree, yeah.
All right. Well, that is going to wrap up the interview segment of SportsLook, so we'll clear this out, and I'll finish up with an overtime right now. Major League Baseball has been playing postseason games since 1901, and here in 2025 on Monday night, a guy by the name of Blake Snell set a record. Blake Snell pitches for the Los Angeles Dodgers in a game against the Milwaukee Brewers. He pitched 8 innings, only gave up 1 hit, picked the guy off, and so he only faced the minimum required number of batters in the game, struck out 10 batters, and nobody in Major League history in the postseason has ever equaled the accomplishment of Blake Snell. Dodgers may not win their series against the Brewers, but you can't blame Blake Snell if they don't. Well, that will finish up in overtime, and that will finish up an episode of SportsLook. I'd like to thank my guests, Matt Quartieri and Dylan Quartieri. Also, Madison Begaye did a great job as a guest. Ms. Jasmine, my floor director once again. So for all of those aforementioned people, this is Doc Elder saying, so long.